everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're watching this video, maybe you are moving to Lund, you're coming for your studies, or it's a city that you're thinking about. So here's everything I think you should know about living here before you move here, so that you know what to expect. First, let's talk about the city. So here you can see a map of Lund, and around here is the city center. So from my area to the city center, it's about 10 minutes bike. And the city center is quite small, so if you do like from one side to the other, it takes about 5-7 minutes bike, depending on how fast you bike. So, you know, you quickly go around the city center. Lund is not a big city at all, and like transportation here is really easy. It's super expensive though, so that kind of sucks. But in general, it's quite easy to get around. It's just really nice that you are able to bike everywhere. And the city is honestly so charming, it's so cute. I mean, that's my opinion. Some people might not like the city, but I really love the architecture, the way it looks, the buildings in general. In the little streets, you can just walk around everywhere and you don't really get bothered by cars. I mean, you can see here, like, you go around in the center and there's just not that many cars around. So it's not like hectic at all. It's not overwhelming. And in that sense, I find this city very relaxing, very calming. And also it's a very green city. So, I mean, of course, in the winter, I mean, you don't have a lot of green, but in the spring, in the summer, it's just so beautiful because there's trees everywhere, there's big parks. So you can expect a lot of green spaces and easy access to parks and natural parks as well. Like around Lund, there's a lot of national parks and reserves. And as I said, the city is quite small, especially the city center. It's very small, but you have, I mean, there's everything you might need. You know, you have like the museums, the parks, as I said, the botanical garden, a lot of cafes. Cute cafe. And there's another one around the corner. Like if you like to go in cafes to work, you can do that very easily. I know that like in France you don't have a lot of those study cafes, but here it's very popular, and there's also a lot of, I mean, of course, restaurants, and in all of those places there's always vegan options. If you walk around in the city, it's very likely that you will meet people that you know. You can't really be that anonymous here because you will definitely see people you know, like all the time. Supermarkets are quite expensive, but you also have those like smaller supermarkets which are a lot cheaper. And in terms of nightlife, Lund is honestly pretty shit. Like there's no club. There's one concert place called Meriet where sometimes they have like, I mean, they have events quite often and like live concerts, but it sometimes turns into a club. So Lund is not really a place where you would go to a nightclub, but there's like many bars and, I mean, okay, to be honest, the nightlife here is not that great. There's chill bars where you can hang out with your friends and drink, but it's like when you go around in the streets, you don't see that many people out. Like on a Saturday night at midnight, there's almost no one in the streets. But to go out, what's really cool is that you get access to other nearby cities, especially Malmö, which is 15 minutes by train, and the train is like super nice to take. The transportation system is super clean and efficient. I mean, Malmö is already a bigger city, so you have much more bars, you've got nightclubs, you've got like theaters and all that kind of stuff. You also get access to like the more busy city life. And then if you take the train for 1 hour, you access Copenhagen. Life here is quite expensive. Latte costs like 4.5 euros. Beers are like 8-9 euros, which is insane. And housing, I pay 400 euros for a room in a house. And I would say that's like, I guess that's the average. Like a lot of the places that I've seen, it's about that price. But then also as an international student, you have access to accommodation, the university accommodation. If you're a European student or a Swedish student, you don't have a guarantee of housing, so you really have to find your own. And it's very difficult to find housing in Lund because there's so many people who come here, so many students that need housing, but there's not enough housing available. If you get an offer, it is recommended that you take it because you might not have the luxury of, having the place that you really want. I was very lucky. Honestly, I felt really, really stressed because in like July, mid-July, beginning of August, I still didn't have housing. But I put a post on a Facebook housing group for Lund, description of myself and what I was looking for, and someone just contacted me and it clicked right away. It is a good idea to put yourself out there, not only look for housing and reply to posts, but also you make a post about yourself and about the kind of person you are. Give as much detail as you can about yourself, put photos of yourself and like your hobbies. And when people see a description of a person and they're like, whoa, I might very much align with this person, then they're more likely to contact you if they have a room available. So that is my tip. But the best advice is just, I get to keep looking, so that eventually you find something, and it may not be what you initially wanted, but keep in mind that you will be able to change. I know a lot of my classmates, they moved out of their initial housing during Christmas or like January. In terms of the best spots to live in, I mean, it really depends. I live 10 minutes bike from the center, and I personally really like my area because of how green it is. But some people might think that it's too far and they don't want to bike to the city center, or like if you go a lot to the neighbor cities on the weekends, for instance, you might want to live closer to the train station. But I mean, a lot of people don't live in the center and they live like in the north or in the south, west, east, kind of all that area. That's still quite close to the center, and if you enjoy biking, it's really nice. But of course, there's days where you have to bike in the rain or bike in the snow, and that can be quite annoying and make you like not want to go out of your house. Especially in the winter, I personally hated biking, and most of the time, actually I think I didn't even bike in the winter and I would take the bus. Okay, now we're gonna talk about weather. You probably know Scandinavia, it's not the warmest place and it's not the sunniest place, so yeah, the weather here is very inconsistent. I mean, these days it changes a lot. Like in the morning it may be super sunny and then it rains, and then it's sunny again and then it rains, and then it's super cold, and then the next day it's super hot. So it's very inconsistent. You should always have like a sweater in your bag because you never know. You never know. In the winter, it's not that cold. I think the coldest that it was this year was -5 or something, but I think according to my Swedish roommate, we had a very mild winter this year, and on some days it snowed a little bit, but the snow doesn't really hold. So yeah, it's not that cold, but it's just, yeah, it's very gray in general. You can have weeks without seeing the sun during the colder months. And this spring has been very sunny and warm. Like for 2 months, almost every single day it was sunny, which is not normal. And it's probably due to climate change. And expect a lot of gray weather, a lot of rain, and very unpredictable weather. And in terms of sunlight, maybe you probably know this, but in the winter the sun goes down at 3:30, and that is for about a month, I think. Something that's really cool about Swedish culture is fika. So just having a good time over, yeah, a drink and food. And that's awesome because you can have fika anytime, I feel. And then, I mean, for the rest, I don't really know much about Swedish culture because a lot of my classmates are international. People here are very polite and they're very nice. But something that I did here and kind of noticed is that it's not very common to like disturb people in their bubble. People really have respect for each other's private spaces, but people are super nice, and it's very international and multicultural in that sense because of all the international students that come. So you will learn so much about other cultures, not just Swedish culture, but mostly other people's cultures and countries and languages. And you really don't have to learn Swedish to live here. People, like everyone here speaks English. As I said, Lund is a very student city, so everywhere you go in the city, all the people that look kind of young are most likely students. In Lund you have what you call nations, so it's like huge student organizations that have events, activities, they have their own bar, their own club. I mean, each nation kind of has a different vibe. This is one of the nations. It's like the more environmentally friendly one. So they do a lot of events related to sustainability and yeah, and so they also offer housing. So I'm gonna go visit my friend. But basically when you're part of a nation, you just pay membership fee, like it's very little, and then you get access to all of their events. And then you also get to participate in other nations' events. Nations events are kind of the core of the student life, because that's when you get the most activities. Like, as I said, Lund itself doesn't have a lot going on. This is the best way to actually meet people from outside of your class. I mean, you get what you put in. The more efforts, like social efforts you put in, the more you will get out of it. Now that I've talked about the city and the student life, I wanted to talk a bit more about my master's for some of you that are interested. If you're not, you can click away from this video. I study environmental sciences and sustainability studies. It's basically a master's of 2 years that teaches you a very holistic understanding of sustainability, and it's a lot of lectures, but it's also like some exercises, some practical work. So I mean, it's nice. I mean, it's not like focused on one thing. As I said, it's very interdisciplinary to really give you a global understanding of the sustainability issues. What's really cool is that you get access to the LUMES building, and we have our own floor with like a kitchen and a living room and the classrooms, and it's just really nice because you can just go there anytime you want and chill or work and hang out with people. And sometimes we organize like karaoke nights or movie nights with my class. The LUMES program is full of just super nice, open-minded people who really want to get to know you and connect, and everyone, like, I've never met such nice people in an academic setting. Bottom line is that if you are a student, Lund is a great city because it has a lot to offer in terms of student life. If you really want a student experience and meet a lot of new people, Lund is a very supportive environment to do so. If you have any questions, you can let me know in the comments or follow me on Instagram, and you can send me a message. If you are moving here, good luck with your move. Don't be too stressed. Don't have too many expectations. I mean, now with this video, you kind of know what to expect, but be very open-minded to whatever is gonna happen, and you will be fine. Okay, thanks so much for watching. Bye!